Star Wars fans, episode 10 of the Andor show is here, and this was by far the best episode of the show, and one of the best episodes that Star Wars has given us on Disney+. What's up guys, it's Mike, a guy who loves Star Wars here. Today we're breaking down episode 10 of the Andor show. Coming into this episode, this prison break was hotly anticipated by all Star Wars fans, and it did not disappoint. Rank this episode out of 10 in the comments below. I will of course rank it after I do the breakdown for the episode. Alright, without further ado, this episode opens where episode 9 left off, with Cassian and Kino Loy, which is Andy Serkis' character, going back to their cells. Cassian is telling him that this has to happen tomorrow. When they're bringing in the new inmate, that is their time to escape. He's already had this plan with a bunch of the other inmates, and now he just has to bring in Kino Loy. He tells Kino that it has to happen tomorrow. This is the best chance that we're ever going to get. When they get back to their cells, Kino tells everybody what's going on. He says that nobody's ever getting out of here alive. Their sentences don't mean anything. They're just going to get transferred, and they're going to be in prison forever. He tells them that there's only one way out. Now, one way out is the name of this episode, and you hear it chanted by the inmates when they are escaping, because there is only one way out from the Empire, and it is the Rebellion. This whole show, all 10 episodes, have had this greater meaning. It's the Empire versus the Rebellion. All of these episodes with the attack on Aldhani and now this prison break have a greater meaning and a greater outlook towards the Empire and the Rebellion. And with this whole one way out thing with this prison break, it is really talking about the Rebellion and the Empire. There's only one way out, and it is getting out of the grasp of the Empire. This show does a great job of explaining the tiny little things and making them feel so huge. It cuts to the ISB headquarters on Coruscant, where Lieutenant Miro is staging a rebel death. Now, they captured a rebel, a pilot, and they have to stage their death so that the Rebellion doesn't know that they have a prisoner. Little do they know, this guy right here, Lonnie, is a rebel spy. I'm the spy. Sequel reference? Anybody? Anybody? Then we get a brief scene on Ferrix, and it's the only scene of this episode that we see on Ferrix, where there's a doctor coming in to help Marva. She's not taking her pills. We don't see Marva, but you see Cinta watching them and the Empire watching her. Now, this will obviously be fleshed out more in the last two episodes, but this was the only scene on Ferrix that we see in this episode. Then it goes back to Coruscant at Mon Mothma's house. Now, Mon Mothma has invited Tacoma back with a guy named Davo. Now, Davo is there because Mon Mothma has taken out way too much money and is in crazy debt and needs that money back so that the Empire doesn't know she's working with the Rebellion. Davo, like Mon Mothma and Tacoma, are all from the planet of Syndralla. Mon really doesn't like Davo and just wants her money back so that the Empire won't be watching over her, but Davo says he doesn't even want a percentage as a payment. He wants an invitation back with his son. Mon puts two and two together, seeing that on Syndralla, marriages are arranged, and Mon does not want her daughter marrying Davos' son. Back at the prison, the breakout is beginning, and Andor goes to the bathroom where he is cutting a pipe to flood the entire floor so that they can turn off the electricity and they won't all get killed. A new inmate is coming in, and this is their chance to escape. There's only 3 guards in there. A bunch of inmates do die through the escape, but they finally get out. They get their weapons, they kill all the guards, and they take the entire prison. Kino Loy gets over the loudspeaker, gives this crazy good speech, and says, "One way out." They're all chanting "one way out" as they jump off the side of the prison into the water. This is when we find out that Kino Loy cannot swim. Cassian is pushed off the end before he can come up with a solution as to how to get Kino Loy off the base without having him swim. He stays there. Will we ever see Kino Loy again? Would he possibly grow 5 feet and become Supreme Leader Snoke? Who knows? But back on Coruscant, that ISB agent Lonnie that we were talking about earlier is going to see Luthen. This is when we find out that he is a spy for the rebels. He has been in the ISB for 6 years, working his way up to the position he has now. But something has happened. He has had a daughter and now wants out. He wants to protect his daughter. He doesn't want to be a rebel anymore. He's putting himself in crazy amounts of danger every day, and he just wants to raise his kid. Luthen says, "Look, we can't lose you. You are one of the most important pieces of this puzzle, and you've been in there for 6 years. All of this would have been for nothing if you leave now." And Lonnie starts to question Luthen. He says, what are you even giving up for this? I'm giving up raising my daughter to be a rebel spy in the ISB. What are you giving up? And Luthen goes on to explain that he is giving up everything. Literally his whole entire life, everything he's ever loved, anything he's ever wanted to do, he's giving up for this cause. And the episode ends with Andor and another inmate running across the shores. They made it to the shore. Don't know how they're going to escape the planet, but they made it to the shore and they have escaped the prison. Now, like I said at the beginning of the video, this is the best episode of the Andor show, hands down. Episode 6 was fantastic when they had the rebel attack on Aldhani, but this is just that much better. If I were to rank this episode out of 10, I would give it a 9.9 out of 10. I gave the Aldhani attack a 9.8. This is a 9.9 out of 10. And the most important thing that this episode did was get us extremely excited for the last 2 episodes of this show, because there was only 2 episodes left, only episode 11 and episode 12. And then we have to wait probably like 2 years until we get season 2. Now, the weird thing with the Andor show is that the views are very, very, very low. If you look at them against The Mandalorian and the Book of Boba Fett and the Obi-Wan Kenobi show, those shows have way more views than the Andor show. And a lot of fans say that the Andor show is not like Star Wars. It has no Force, it has no lightsabers, it has no legendary characters like Darth Vader, like Luke Skywalker, like any of them. And I can agree with that. It has a little lack of a feel for Star Wars, but if you even take the Star Wars out of the Andor show, if this was just a random show that didn't happen in the Star Wars universe, this would still be a fantastic show. Story-wise, and how they introduce these characters and how all these characters are built up and you don't know if they're going to live or die is what makes this show so good. When you have shows like the Obi-Wan Kenobi show where there's no stakes because you know Darth Vader doesn't die, you know Obi-Wan doesn't die, you know the Grand Inquisitor doesn't die, you know Princess Leia doesn't die, there's no stakes there. In the Andor show, pretty much the only character you know that doesn't die is Andor. Kino Loy can die, any of the prisoners could have died, which a lot of them did in this episode. Luthen can die at any moment. And that's why I think a lot of fans actually like this show, because there's stakes to it. It is a lot like The Mandalorian, where The Mandalorian's a brand new character, Grogu's a brand new character, and they aren't in the sequel trilogy, so they have stakes. They can die at any moment. But like I said before, tell me in the comments what you thought of episode 10 of the Andor show. Did you think it was the best episode? Rank it out of 10 in the comments below. Smash like if you like this video, hit subscribe, and hit that bell so you get notified every time I post a video, and my pretty face will show up in that recommended feed of yours. 2 more episodes of this Andor show, and it is getting very, very good. So I'm hoping we keep going from there, and episode 11 is even better, and episode 12 is a great finale. But for now, we have to wait. Of course, on Tuesday, I'll be live at 4 p.m. as always, predicting the next episode of the Andor show and just talking about all the fun Star Wars news. So don't forget to come to that live stream, drop your prediction, just hang out because we have a lot of fun in those live streams. And may the Force be with you. Always.